All right. If you're a business leader right now, it feels like you're just constantly being bombarded with AI, right? Everyone and their dog claims to be an AI leader, but what does that even mean for your business? Well, today, we're going to cut right through all that noise. I'm going to give you a clear, actionable guide to building a real AI strategy that actually gets you results.
And you know what? Let's just be honest for a second. It is maddening. I love this quote from Nasuni's SVP of product because it just hits the nail on the head. It feels like every single marketing campaign out there is just screaming AI, 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 and it makes it nearly impossible to figure out what's real and what's just, well, hype.
So that's the big question, right? How do you actually cut through all of that noise and find the real value for your company? Well, that is exactly what we're here to do. We are going to lay out a super clear path that takes you from all this confusing jargon to, genuine clarity on how to make AI really work for you.
Okay, so let's kick things off by talking about the huge disconnect between what companies say they're doing with AI and what's actually happening on the ground. Seriously, understanding this gap is your first big step to getting a real competitive edge.
Okay, check this out, because this data is fascinating. A McKinsey survey found that a whopping 88% of companies claim they're using AI. 88%. But, and this is a big but, when you actually look closer, that use is incredibly shallow. Most of them are just kind of dipping their toes in the water, using AI in maybe one or two parts of the business. And what that means for you is that the real transformative power of AI, it's still pretty much untapped. That's a massive opportunity for anyone who's ready to go deeper.
So, if you're going to build a real strategy, you've got to understand the tools in your toolbox first. It's that simple. So what we're going to do is break down all the key concepts using a really simple analogy, a library. Trust me, this is going to demystify the tech and give you a really solid foundation to build on.
All right, first up, large language models, or LLMs. The easiest way to think about an LLM is like an impossibly huge library. I mean, endless shelves filled with every book, map, and article you could ever imagine. This is the foundational knowledge base for everything else. It holds all the information, but you still need a way to actually find what you're looking for, right?
And that is where conversational AI comes in. This is basically your friendly librarian. It's that interface sitting at the front desk, ready to help. It's what lets you have a natural, human-like chat to find the exact piece of knowledge you need from those miles and miles of shelves.
Okay, but let's get a little more specialized now. You can think of assistants and co-pilots as expert researchers you can hire in this library. So an AI assistant, that's your generalist. It can help you with a whole bunch of different things, like summarizing your meeting notes or drafting an email. An AI co-pilot, on the other hand, is a deep specialist. It's like a researcher with a PhD in one specific field. It might know everything there is to know about financial regulations, but don't ask it for help with your marketing copy. It's an absolute expert, but only in its narrow domain.
All right, let's just pull this all together for a second. This table is a fantastic little cheat sheet for our AI toolbox. So at the very bottom, you've got the LLM. That's the books and knowledge on the shelves. Then you've got the conversational AI. That's your friendly librarian. Assistants and co-pilots, those are your specialized research assistants. And AI agents, well, that's the future we're building towards. Think of it as the autonomous, self-running library.
Okay, so now you understand the tools. This is where we get to shift from that reactive, kind of fearful or confused state to actually building a proactive, intelligent strategy. It's time to go from just knowing what these things are to knowing what to do with them.
A really common first reaction from a lot of companies, usually for security reasons, is just to put a blanket ban on all AI tools. But here's the problem with that. Your employees are probably using them anyway. They're creating what we call shadow IT. And that approach doesn't just fail to stop people from using AI, it also means you completely miss out on learning where these tools could create some really surprising wins for your business.
A much better approach? Build a sandbox. What I mean is, you create a secure, company-approved space where your employees can safely experiment with officially sanctioned AI tools. This does a few things. It encourages innovation, it lets you discover valuable use cases, and, this is super important, it makes sure that any intellectual property that gets created stays with the company.
Okay, so once you've got that sandbox, you need a process. And this simple 3-step framework is a fantastic way to go about it. First step is ideation. You get your business and domain experts in a room to brainstorm potential uses. Step 2, assessment. You look at each idea and evaluate it based on its potential business value and, how easy it would actually be to build.
And finally, step 3, prioritization. You cluster these ideas and create a clear, actionable roadmap of what you're going to tackle first. All right, so you've got your strategy, you've got your roadmap. Awesome. But now, how do you get the absolute most out of these incredibly powerful tools? Well, the secret, a lot of the time, just comes down to how you ask. Moving beyond a really basic prompt is the key to unlocking the AI's full potential. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. It shows the power of a technique called chain of thought prompting. Just look at this. You give it a standard prompt with a simple math problem, and the AI gets it wrong. But then you just add one simple little phrase, let's think step by step. And just like that, you unlock the model's ability to reason. It breaks the problem down and gets the right answer. It's such a tiny change, but it has a massive impact.
And you can take this way further than just clever prompting. So, prompt engineering, that's the simplest method. But for more specialized stuff, you can do something called fine-tuning. That's where you actually retrain a model using your company's own data. Think contracts, internal reports, to teach it the specific nuances of your business. Or you can use a technique called RAG, which stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. This basically hooks the AI up to a live database of your company's info, making sure its answers are always up to date and totally relevant.
Okay, let's wrap this up by looking ahead. Because to make your strategy truly future-proof, you absolutely have to understand the next big evolution in AI, and it's already starting to happen. We are moving from an AI that just gives you advice to an AI that actually takes action.
And this right here captures that fundamental shift perfectly. The generative AI we've all been using, it's basically read-only. It takes in information, spits out a response, and then hands it over to a human to actually do something. Agentic AI, though, that's read-write. It doesn't just suggest what to do. It goes out and achieves the goal itself by executing multi-step tasks, modifying systems, and triggering workflows all on its own.
And this is why this is such a big deal. The jump to agentic AI isn't just about another small productivity boost. No, it's a complete game changer. We're talking about moving beyond tools that just make humans work a little bit faster and into a world where autonomous systems can replace entire chains of manual work from start to finish.
So as you go back and build your AI strategy today, you've got to ask yourself this one final question. Are you just building a better library, or are you preparing for a world where the library can run itself? Because honestly, the answer to that question is probably going to define the entire future of your company.